What if standing for truth meant that your only way forward was to appeal to the highest authority? Have you ever been in a situation where no one seemed to listen, and the only option left was to take your case to someone greater? And what if the pressure you feel right now is actually leading you to a bigger stage than you ever imagined? In Acts 25-12, we step into another chapter of Paul's journey, one filled with tension, political pressure, and critical decisions. After 2 years of being held under guard in Caesarea, Paul's case now passes into the hands of a new governor, Porcius Festus. Festus arrives in the province and quickly realizes the complexity of the situation he has inherited. He travels to Jerusalem, where the Jewish leaders immediately bring up their case against Paul. The hostility toward Paul has not disappeared. If anything, it has grown. The chief priests and Jewish leaders waste no time. They present their accusations once again, asking Festus to bring Paul to Jerusalem. But this request is not innocent. They have a plan, a hidden plan, a dangerous plan. They intend to ambush Paul along the way and kill him. This is the same kind of threat Paul has faced before, but this time it's disguised as a legal request. Festus responds carefully. He does not immediately agree. Instead, he invites the Jewish leaders to come to Caesarea with him and present their accusations against Paul there. This decision is critical. It prevents Paul from being moved into a dangerous situation. It also demonstrates that Festus is cautious, observant, and not easily manipulated. After spending about 8 or 10 days in Jerusalem, Festus returns to Caesarea, and shortly after, he orders Paul to be brought before him. The trial begins. Once again, the accusers stand before Paul, and once again they present serious charges. But there is a problem. They cannot prove anything. They make accusations, but there is no solid evidence, no witnesses, no concrete proof. This is important because truth does not rely on volume. It relies on evidence, and in this case, the evidence is not there. Paul responds to the accusations clearly and directly. He defends himself by stating that he has not committed any offense against the Jewish law, against the temple, or against Caesar. 3 key areas, 3 clear denials, and each one is rooted in truth. But then Festus makes an interesting move. Wanting to gain favor with the Jewish leaders, he asks Paul, "Are you willing to go up to Jerusalem and stand trial before me there?" This question seems reasonable on the surface, but in reality, it is a trap. Because Festus is trying to balance justice with political pressure. He wants to please the Jewish leaders. But he also knows that Paul is under Roman jurisdiction. And Paul understands the danger. He knows that if he goes to Jerusalem, he will likely face the same threat again, the same plot, the same ambush, the same risk. So Paul responds with confidence and clarity. "I am now standing before Caesar's court, where I ought to be tried. I have not done any wrong to the Jews, as you yourself know very well." This is a strong statement. Paul is not avoiding the trial. He is not running away. He is simply insisting on a fair and legal process. He continues by saying that if he is guilty of doing anything worthy of death, he is not trying to escape death. But if the charges are false, no one has the right to hand him over to the Jewish leaders. Then comes the turning point. Paul makes a bold decision. "I appeal to Caesar." These words change everything. This is not just a request, this is a legal right. As a Roman citizen, Paul has the right to appeal his case to the highest authority, the emperor himself. And Festus listens carefully. After consulting with his council, he responds, "You have appealed to Caesar you will go." And just like that, Paul's journey takes a new direction. A direction that aligns with something greater than just this moment. A direction that moves him closer to Rome. But let's pause and reflect on what just happened. Paul is facing false accusations. He is under pressure from religious leaders. He is being asked to compromise his position. And yet, he stands firm. He does not give in. He does not accept a dangerous compromise. He does not allow himself to be placed in a situation that would likely lead to harm. Instead, he uses the authority available to him. He understands his rights, and he acts wisely. This moment reveals a powerful principle. Wisdom is not weakness. Standing firm is not pride. Knowing when to speak and when to act is part of living with discernment. Paul does not remain passive. He does not blindly accept every request. He evaluates the situation carefully, and when necessary, he asserts his right to a fair hearing. This is important. Because faith and wisdom are not opposites. They work together. Paul trusts God, but he also uses the tools available to him. He respects authority, but he also understands when authority is being misused, and in doing so he navigates a complex and dangerous situation with clarity. Now let's look deeper at Festus. Festus is in a difficult position. He is new to the role. He wants to maintain peace, he wants to please the Jewish leaders, but he also wants to follow Roman law. And these two goals are not always aligned, so he tries to find a middle ground. He proposes sending Paul to Jerusalem, but Paul sees through the situation, and instead of accepting the risk, he chooses to appeal to Caesar. This is a turning point, because it removes Paul from local influence and places him on a path toward Rome. This is not just a legal decision, it is a directional shift, and it is aligned with something God had already revealed. In Acts 23:11, the Lord had said to Paul, "Take courage. As you have testified about me in Jerusalem, so you must also testify in Rome." Now that promise begins to unfold, not through dramatic miracles, but through legal systems, through decisions, through authority, through human interaction. This shows us something incredibly important. God's promises are not always fulfilled in obvious ways. Sometimes they are fulfilled through unexpected paths, through systems that seem ordinary, through decisions that appear political, through processes that feel slow. But behind it all, God is guiding the outcome. Paul is not being moved randomly, he is being directed purposefully. Every step is part of a larger plan, even when it doesn't look like it, even when it feels uncertain, even when the situation seems out of control. God is still in control. This moment also highlights the importance of understanding your rights. Paul knew his rights as a Roman citizen, and he used that knowledge to protect himself. This is a reminder that wisdom includes awareness, not just spiritual awareness, but practical awareness. Knowing how to navigate systems, knowing when to speak, knowing when to act, and knowing when to use the resources available to you. Faith does not mean ignoring reality. It means engaging with it in a wise and thoughtful way. Paul does not reject the system, he uses it, and in doing so, he protects his path forward. Now, consider the bigger picture. Paul has been accused, he has been detained, he has been moved from place to place, and now he is appealing to the highest authority in the land. All of this might look like a series of setbacks, but in reality, it is a series of steps that lead him exactly where he needs to go, to Rome, to continue his mission, to fulfill his calling. This is how God works, not always in a straight line, but always in the right direction. So if you find yourself in a situation that feels like a delay or a detour or even a setback, don't assume that it's the end of your story. It might be part of the path. Paul didn't control the process, but he trusted the purpose, and because of that, he continued moving forward, even in the face of opposition. So stay faithful, stay aware, and stay grounded in truth, because when the time is right, God will open the next door and lead you into the next chapter, just as he did for Paul. Thank you for watching this video. If this message encouraged you, don't forget to like, follow the channel, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this today.